Welcome to Surviving Roots, the podcast where we navigate the messy, beautiful work of healing and growth. I'm your host, Cari Fund, and this is your space to breathe, reflect, and find strength. Whether you're breaking free from old patterns, healing from loss, or rebuilding your story one small step at a time, you're in the right place. So take a deep breath, give yourself this time, and let's uncover the tools to move forward with courage. This podcast is for you. Today on Surviving Roots, we're sitting down with someone who knows what it means to rebuild a life from the inside out. Michelle Fairburn is a mother of two, a creator, and a woman who has turned her past into purpose, not through perfection, but through honesty. She became a mom at 20, fought her way through hardship, and slowly built a life grounded in resilience, faith, and intention. As she began sharing her journey online, the mistakes, the wins, the lessons, her vulnerability sparked massive conversations about parenting, privilege, survival, and what it truly takes to change your life. What draws people to Michelle isn't a polished image. It's her willingness to tell the truth about the messy parts, the motherhood, the healing, the missteps, and the reinvention. And honestly, I started following her because the bond she has with her daughters made my heart smile. There's a presence and a connection there that you can feel instantly. Today, we're diving into the journey behind the content, the motherhood, healing, identity, and the choices we make to build a better life for ourselves and our children. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much. That was a beautiful intro. I love that.
Well, you have a beautiful story, girl. I'm just so excited to talk with you.
Thank you. Can I say one of the things that I loved most about that intro is that you touched on that my journey hasn't been like this quick overnight thing into this evolution of who I am now. It has been slow. And I like that you noticed that because that's what I really try and share online. Hear it. But I really like that you said that because I feel like for me, when I was in the trenches of motherhood and, in my 20s and even in my early 30s, everyone online is always this polished version of themselves. So if I have to be that poster child of being unpolished and a little bit messy and having a really slow journey, like you said, then I'll be that person. So I'm happy that you saw that in me.
Well, that's amazing. That's really what attracted me to your story. Also, you're just so funny and you and your girls are absolutely adorable and entertaining. But you're authentic and you're real. And that is the truth. People that are watching you online, whether it's your first step or your 100th step, or like for me, I feel like it's my millionth step, you're absolutely relatable and people can see themselves in the stories that you share. So yeah, it's not an overnight journey. Those are not real.
No, they're not real. Actually, when I was talking to my kids about this podcast yesterday, I was like, I feel like, I know your podcast is a lot about healing. And I was like, well, I'm not fully healed. And then my eldest daughter said, are we ever? Like, we're always evolving. And it was cute because she was also reiterating what I always say. And I was like, I love that. Are we ever fully healed? I feel like we're always just evolving and finding and discovering. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's so true. I think that's how we evolve. And I think realizing and having the self-awareness to realize it's a lifelong journey keeps you curious, keeps the curiosity going, which keeps the momentum going, which keeps moving us forward. And bravo, Mom. Job well done that's the response that your daughter had.
I know, right?
Wow, I got chills. I'm like,
moments where you see like these little glimpses of like it's what every parent hopes to see. And I feel like, especially as your kids enter adulthood, like I know your kids are a lot younger, but like when your kids enter adulthood and you see these little glimpses of like everything you hoped sort of like they would be and like the good parts of you in them, you're like, it's healing in itself,
It really is. I always say they're like little Band-Aids that heal those wounds that we used to have. It's great.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, I mean, you've really transformed from surviving to thriving. You became a mom at 20. How did those early years shape your mindset, like around survival, ambition, and the woman you were becoming? How did your early years shape you? I mean, whether it's like when you're 20 years old, like, your mindset around like, how am I going to do this? You're becoming a mom so young. Mm-hmm. Your ambition, like who did you want to become? Did you see motherhood in the picture at 20?
I mean, here's the funny thing. My kids were planned. Like, even though I had my eldest daughter at 20, she was planned. I knew I always wanted to be a mom. My mom passed away when I was really young, and she left even before that. So my mom left me and my dad when I was 3, and then she ended up dying when I was 7. So I feel like that already had a lot of complicated feelings for me. But I knew I always wanted to be a mom. I think it was a way that I wanted to heal myself through motherhood and kind of give my kids what I always felt like I never got. My dad did a really great job at parenting me, but I think we both have like a mother wound, like we can connect on that. And so I always knew that I wanted to be a mom, but that didn't mean that I necessarily made this like choice where a lot of people make a choice to be a mom and they're secure and they have this life that they can welcome a child into and it's going to be stable. That was not my situation at all. I ended up moving back to England to be around my family. I left my daughter's dad because that was, I talk about it online. He went to jail. So I ended up going back to England so I could be around my family, the women in my family, so I could kind of learn, so to speak, how to be a mom. So, I ended up trying to go back to college when my daughter was really little. In England, but I couldn't get free college. So I ended up coming back to Canada. I ended up meeting my youngest daughter's dad. We got married. We quickly had my youngest daughter. And that marriage was an abusive marriage. So I talk about that a lot online. It was kind of a whirlwind. It was one of those relationships where, true, like typical narcissist, even maybe a little bit of a sociopath, where, he kind of wrapped me up in this snowball where I thought everything was perfect. Everyone around me thought he was perfect. My dad was really happy for me because he thought, I'd found this amazing man that was going to, take care of me and my eldest daughter. And then he proposed to me and then we were getting married and all this happened so fast. And then it was like overnight, it became abusive right after we got married. Obviously it definitely shaped me into who I am today. It's obviously the story that I share online. And that's like my early part of life. How did it shape me? I definitely think for me, my biggest virtue, I always say, is freedom. And I think that's because for so long I felt trapped, whether that was trapped in a relationship or most importantly, trapped in my mind. I was trapped in my mind for a really long time. So yeah.
Wow, you've been through a lot. It almost sounds like a movie. I'm like thinking if this movie had a baby with this movie, this would be Michelle Fairburn's life.
It's a lot. And I don't even share everything, but it is a lot. Yeah.
Listen, girl, bravo to you first, because my mother is still alive, but I've been estranged for 17 years. But it is scary it was for me, like becoming a mom and not having a mom. Like I was like, how am I going to learn how to do this? Because growing up, you see all the movies where like the mom is showing you how to do this and the mom is showing you how to do that. And I was just like, how am I going to do this? But I think the beautiful thing about healing and surviving a mother wound is that if becoming a mother is sort of like in your DNA, if you have that like immediately when you become pregnant and then you see this human being that you've created, I just think something turns on, something lights up inside of us. Yeah. And you don't need a book or a guide. You will find your way. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think that's the most beautiful, natural thing about becoming a mother.
I remember giving birth to my eldest daughter, and it's funny because her birthday was in November, and she always wants me to tell her birth story on her birthday. And so I always tell the story about, you remember Star Trek and how like that beam would come down? I remember feeling that in the hospital bed. It was like a beam came down and it was like, this is no longer about you. This is about this little human. And like every decision you are going to make from now on is going to be about this little human. So yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Oh my God, you just gave me chills. Honestly, that is the beautiful thing I think about people that are cycle breakers. I don't know. I just think they make the best parents when they connect and they get it and they heal.
Yeah.
They just get it. You can give your kids the childhood you never had and everything you needed as a kid. Like that's our power.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you because with regards to like when you met your second husband, for people that are listening, what are the signs like looking back on that you missed that he was toxic or a narcissist? Because I know there's a lot of people, that ignore the red flags, ignore the signs. Oh, I will watch movies sometimes and I'm like, wow, that guy, like, this isn't right. But the woman is like, oh, look how obsessed he is with me. Look how much he loves me, or I can change him. Like, they still make these romantic movies for women that are like, that guy is a bad guy.
Have you watched movies like even from like now I feel like they're getting better, but even movies from like 10 years ago, you watch them and you're like, this isn't a love story. Like this is like
Yes.
What is this? Like,
Yes.
run. I know.
Yes. Like, I wanna scream, like, "You're not going to change him. He's
I
going to take
know.
everything from you.
I
He's not
know.
that handsome. Run away. That's not
He's
love."
not that handsome.
Oh my
That
god.
is true.
Like, what's that movie? It came out a couple years ago. I, like, watched it and I was like, he kidnapped her and he's giving her an ultimatum a year to fall in love, and if he doesn't like, what is that?
What?
65? It's with the guy, 365 Days. It's with that hot Italian guy that's in the movie, The Housemaid you just watched. It's called 365 Days. It's a whole series, and he's like the Italian mafia, and he kidnaps this
Are you
woman because he
kidding?
wants her to fall in love with him. Women went
That's
crazy over
it.
it. It's a 3-part movie.
Now I'm gonna have to find it after and watch it, but
You
I
have
know,
to.
like, well, I do think media has a part in it. Media should take some responsibility in this for brainwashing us to think certain things are love when they're not. But as far as red flags, there were a lot. I think the main one is take your time. Like, take your time when it comes to a relationship. He proposed to me after 3 months and I said yes. So, like, that in itself is a huge red flag. Um, and here's the thing. I knew it was wrong even back then. I knew it was too fast. But I think when you're a young single mom, especially back then, we're talking like early 2000s, like 2004, 2005, there was so much stigma. And I feel like there is stigma around being a single mom. But I think back then he proposed to me. My dad was, it was a lot. My dad was happy. I think I kind of got married for my dad. I really do. Healthy relationships take time. And I know I'm not saying there aren't marriages out there that don't get engaged after 3 months, that don't stay married for the rest of their lives and have a really healthy, beautiful marriage. But I think, sort of as like a rule of thumb, relationships take time. You don't know somebody after 3 months. A normal person isn't necessarily going to propose after 3 months because he also didn't know me, like we didn't,
Yeah.
it's not enough time to know someone. I think also, well, I think that would be number one. I didn't know him. That is the main red flag. I did not know him enough. He lied about his career. There was not enough time to even verify this information. So I think that was the biggest red flag. Other red flags, that sort of happened not that far down the line because we were married in a very short period of time. But, he started to isolate me from people. He would get jealous of people. He never referred to me as my name. He always referred to me as my wife. It was just my name, like was my wife, whether he was talking to me or talking to somebody else. I didn't really have an identity other than my wife. So I think those were red flags. But I think any person, any young, woman in their 20s, what I tell my kids is you don't know someone after 3 months. You don't.
Yeah.
That thing, those things take time.
Yeah.
If I could go back to my younger self, I would say, you don't need to do this for anyone else other than yourself. Because if I didn't have that outside pressure, whether it was said to me or if it was just in my head, I would say you don't need to do this. Like you don't have to. No one's going to be mad. No one's going to be. And even if they are mad, and even if they are disappointed that I'm not doing it, my life is for me. And I kind of wish I could hug that 20-year-old me.
I love that. That's so important for people listening because sometimes we do things for external validation or love, or we want people to be proud of us, or
Yeah.
especially if we grew up with some kind of parent wound, we sometimes are people pleasers.
Yeah.
And sometimes we want everyone else to make them happy, and it might not make ourselves happy. So, and
Yeah.
we are the ones that end up paying the big price,
Putting ourselves.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think you brought up another good point is like, take your time, because if something is real, it's not going to expire, whether you got married at 3 months or you waited 3 years. Like if it's
Yeah.
real, it's there.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how do you navigate this with your daughters? Like are they in their lives, or how do you navigate this?
So my eldest daughter's dad was deported, so he does not live in the country. So they have a relationship, but it's not physical. It's on a telephone, but he has a son. So we have a good relationship with his son and his son's mom, which I'm so proud of because I feel like that's a rare story to have. There's 2 moms of kids with the same dad. Usually they don't tend to have a relationship, but we have a great relationship. So that's a really beautiful thing. I'm really proud of us for doing that. And then my youngest daughter dad, she does not have a relationship with him. That's my ex-husband, the one was in the marriage with. She does not have a relationship at all. I always left that open. When I left the marriage, I had a restraining order. We were not allowed to even talk, even if we wanted to. And I always said to her, if you want to have this relationship with him, you can. I never spoke badly about him. And then when she was around 7 years old, she decided that she wanted to have a relationship with him. And so I'd reached out to him. We did not have ongoing communication, but I always had his email address. So I had reached out to him. I said, Amoy, my daughter, would like to have a relationship with you. Is this something you'd be open to? And he was very open. He was. He ended up flying to Toronto. I think he was living in Vancouver at the time. He flew to Toronto. And I remember the first day we went to see him. He was at his family's house. And I was wearing, what year would this have been? Maybe 2010
Mm-hmm.
and maybe 2012. But the jersey, do you remember like the t-shirt jersey dresses?
Yes.
They'd have the number on the front. And I remember going to his aunt's house and he was sitting in the yard and and I was a college student at the time. And I remember walking up to him with my daughter and he said to me, "Is that what you're wearing to school?" And I was like, I felt rage. I felt murderous. Like I
Yeah.
was like, we are not even married. Like
Yeah.
married and you are still trying to dictate what I.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But I let it calm. I let it settle. I don't remember my response. I just remember what he said to me. But my daughter and him, I think they were together for like a weekend. And after that, they decided they were still going to have this relationship. I think one more time, maybe months later, he had decided to come back to visit her again. And I remember we had a bank meeting that day.
Mm-hmm.
And the bank meeting was taking a little bit longer. We had arranged to go for sushi with him later that day. And the meeting was taking a little bit longer than it should. And so I said to my daughter, "Why don't you text your dad and just let him know that we're going to be a little bit late?" And so she texted him and she said, "Hey, Dad, we're going to be X amount of time." And he said, "Okay, well, let's just plan for another day then." And my daughter decided she
Yeah.
did not want to see him after that. So they haven't seen
Yeah.
him since then. She was like,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't even need to say anything. She saw it for
She
herself.
saw it for herself.
And that was years ago now. So they
I
don't.
really respect how you parent because with everything that you've been through, it takes a lot of self-awareness and it just takes really being a damn good mom, not to like bash and try to separate. Like I had one of those moms that like constantly talked terrible about my father and it was sort of just discussing what they both did. So I think when you've been through a lot and you can still have grit, but with grace, I
Yeah.
think that says a lot. You're raising these young women. And I think that's one of the things that makes you such a great role model. It's really hard, I would think, raising two daughters while navigating your own healing. That's
Yeah.
really hard work. So, how do you balance that? How do you balance like working on yourself and becoming better while they're watching you? Because we are their mentors. How do you
100%.
balance the roller coaster of
Well,
healing
it's funny that you
while you
say.
have an audience?
I know. Well, it's funny that you say that about your mom. I love my dad. I love him so dearly. But one thing that I can relate to you is my dad never had anything nice to say about my mom either. And with the fact obviously my mom died when I was so young, so I never had any closure on that. And there were just little things that I wanted to know. And also we don't have a relationship with her family. So there's no one I could ever really ask these questions. And I remember like when I was a teenager, I just wanted to know little things like what was her favorite color, or like what was her favorite movie. And I had no one to ask because I felt like if I were to even ask my dad, I would no longer be being loyal to my dad.
Yeah.
It was like this weird loyalty thing that I had created in my head. So I think I definitely went into parenting my kids when it came to their dads from that. I never wanted them to feel how I felt. So
Yeah.
that was all, like I think the biggest driving force of why I never crap talked,
Yeah.
lack of a better word,
Yeah.
their dads, because I never wanted to feel that. And me and my dad, we did go to therapy about that. I remember being like, I just want to know what her favorite chocolate bar was,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, and I always made a point, even with my youngest daughter, like never crap talk. I know I would only say good things, and I've talked to other people that said maybe that isn't a good thing, but it was a good thing for me, and I'm happy I did that because I would even say like when I cook certain meals, I'd be like, "Oh, your dad is the one that taught me
Yeah.
this," or "Your dad always liked to cook," and stuff like that. And I'm happy I did that. I think that was healing for me as well, and not only beneficial for her, but I think it was also healing for me because I know that I didn't get that with my
Yeah.
parents.
I think that's amazing. Also, your relationship with their dads is very different than the relationship with a child and parent. Now, it may end up being not a good one as well, but at least they're coming to that decision on their own because the
Yes,
last thing you want to do is be the one to blame and be resented because
exactly.
you tried to tell them or you tried to share your lived experience. I mean, I think that's the healthiest sort of do it. I
Yeah.
do wanna ask you, just because, again, I'm estranged from my mother, but, like, how do you handle or how did you manage to accept not being able to understand and really know all of these little things that you wanted to know about your mom?
Ooh, this is a very recent for me. I think only in the past, and I'm 42. She died when I was 7, left when I was 3. So this has been a long journey. I think in the past 2 years, I have only just gotten to a place of forgiveness
Yeah,
where where I say I love her.
yeah.
And I could cry because for so long I was really angry at her and I didn't like her. And I feel like also I used other people's story as my own, right? Like I took people like my dad, I took his story and I used it as my own about how I felt about my mom without really thinking about how I felt about the situation. And how did that come about? I don't really know. I mean, time, I think, is a big thing. Also, just evolving into who I am and the journey that I've been on. I'm much older than she ever was. She died before she even got to 30. But I think also just forgiving my own self.
So important.
Yeah. And I've never said that. I actually didn't even think of that until now I've just clocked my own self. I'm like, wait a minute. There was
Important.
yeah, there was like huge forgiveness of myself in recent years, which I think has enabled me to forgive her. And also, I think I just have huge amounts of empathy for her, which I don't know if I was even in a space to have for her before. She was a woman, her name was Penelope.
I love that name.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? It's kind of making
Beautiful.
a comeback too, which is
It's
like,
so beautiful.
yeah. And she came from a Jehovah Witness family, and they were really, really strict. I don't know another word to say, but they were very strict. And so she ended up leaving, and that came with a lot of problems for her, and then drugs and things like that. She had her own stuff going on, and I think I just got to a place where I forgave her. I have huge amounts of empathy for her. I mean, to leave your own child, I feel like that can have been an easy thing
Mhm.
no matter what. Like, I don't think that would be an easy thing. So I can't imagine like her own inner battles,
Yeah.
you know?
You just said such beautiful things, and I just wanna go over a couple things right now with everyone listening because that's the thing. That just shows you how I feel. Like, again, I'm not a therapist or a coach. I've just been on this
Yeah.
estrangement journey for 17 years. I'm 47, so, like, it's been a roller coaster. And I can honestly relate to you because it probably wasn't until I was about 44 that I learned the importance of self-forgiveness. Nobody talks about self-forgiveness. It's always about, especially depending on what kind of religion you grow up in or what your faith says about you have to forgive people, but I never realized, like, I needed to forgive myself for, like, the way I treated myself because of everything growing up, the way I allowed others to treat me, the way I didn't have self-worth or felt like I could be loved. So, by forgiving myself, it literally helped dissolve so much, like, shame and guilt
Yeah.
for the things I couldn't control. I couldn't control my mom to, like, show up as the mom I really needed her to be. But I think with the beauty of forgiving yourself, people always ask me, "Well, have you forgiven your mom? You have to forgive her." And I was like, "Well, first, I don't have to do anything. And second of all, it's
Yeah.
not that I don't have to do anything. Second of all, it's not even like I forgive her or I don't. I have compassion for her because I know that she wasn't able to heal or grow or move on from things. And so I do have compassion for her because she lost a lot in life. She lost the ability to really truly be a mother and have all the joys and things that I've learned through my own mothering. And I have compassion for that because that's probably a huge loss that I don't even know if she even realizes.
Mhm.
But that's the thing I think about, like, with adult children, like, once we become adult and people are like, "Well, you can't be a victim of things that happened to your past. Of course you don't have to be. You sort of stop the victimization of things because you forgive yourself and you're healing and
Yeah.
we're moving on. And like taking responsibility for our lives and our healing, like you have, like I have, I was like, I mean, I just think that's the greatest thing you can do for yourself. And if you have children, the greatest thing that you can do for your
Yes.
children. So
Yeah.
your journey really, you're like hitting all the like,
No, but forgiveness, like, Cari, forgiveness for me, and I wanna tell everyone all the time, forgiveness is when I unlocked myself.
yeah,
I don't even think I was truly living before I forgave myself. And religion is a part of it for me. I did become a born again Christian. I got baptized in 2017. I'm not even kidding. Me before that and me after that are it's like I wasn't a person and now I'm a person.
yeah,
That's how I describe it because being baptized for me gave me permission to shed my old self. It's like that person was washed away and then now I got to step into who I was always meant to be.
yeah,
Whether you want to say it's symbolic or whatever, being baptized washed away the old me, and then I'm just the new me. And
yeah,
it was, I wish I could scream it at the rooftops how profound that was for me because I truly forgave myself
yeah,
at that time. Like I forgave myself for everything. Like you said, the decisions that I made that, I have made some pretty shitty decisions. Like I'm not a perfect person. I made really crappy decisions, but I gave myself permission to let those go because I had huge amounts of empathy for the person that I was. Like I was put into these situations that I wouldn't wish on anyone
yeah,
to make decisions under that. So I just forgave myself and I said, you know what? You were given cards that were really difficult and you played them how you needed to at the time, but now you can let that go. And forgiving myself was an overnight thing. For me, it was instantaneous. I forgave myself, but obviously the healing after that takes time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm still in
I can relate to so much that you're saying, but it's going to be a little funny. First of all, I was born Christian, but I eventually converted to Judaism. However, this is the thing. It's not about like the religion, but I will say with my conversion to Judaism, you have to do a mikvah. So you have to go down into this body of water. No one can see you. You have to strip off your clothes and you sort of have to like baptize your entire body.
Mm,
And in that moment, I remember truly feeling like everything was washed away. And I
yeah.
thought to myself, it's such a shame in Christianity that they baptize babies. They should wait till they baptize them as older
They
so
have
you
stuff
can
to wash
remember.
away.
But you can also remember this
Yeah, that's
thing. So no
true.
matter what the religion is, I remember thinking, oh my God, like as an adult, here I am in this, like literally baptizing, but they call it a mikvah, my whole body, submerging myself, letting go of the past,
Yeah.
reconnecting to God. Like I was just thinking, wow, in Christianity, they really should baptize you as an adult because you literally can really make an adult human connection. Because
Yes,
when you're a baby, you don't remember that. And it's such a symbol.
it
It's
is.
such a symbol
It
that
is.
can connect you to your faith.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah, seriously, amen. I remember I did this, you can find it on YouTube. A therapist had told me about it, but it's a self-forgiveness ritual where like for 30 days you say this 2-minute thing to yourself and you literally have to take your hand and say you cut the cord. I cut the cord of my past. And
Oh,
I mean, it literally after a couple of days of doing that, I was able to just really start falling into myself. So I'm so glad you brought up self-forgiveness because a lot of people don't talk about that and it's just so
a
important.
heavy weight to carry if you don't.
Heavy weight. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. It really
Okay,
is.
well, I just want to switch gears for a minute because one of the things I love watching your content with your daughters, you guys are so joyful. I remember following you. I can't even remember the video, but like I just became obsessed. And I want to know behind the scenes, what is it like creating content together? It looks so much fun.
Fun. I know a lot of our videos there we do have fun. We have a lot of fun with it and I feel really blessed that we are on the journey together. Mostly obviously it's me and my youngest daughter. My eldest daughter has phases where she wants to be part of it and then she just like doesn't care. Social media is not her thing. She doesn't like to be perceived. Like she has this me and Amoy are like, woo! Like we're just funny because my eldest daughter was an actor. So it's like, I don't know, it's weird that she doesn't like well, maybe it's not. I feel like a lot of actors, they like to perform, but they don't like necessarily to show themselves, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But yeah, me and my eldest daughter, we have it registered as a business. So we run it like a real legitimate business. We have fun with it. We do. But I would say since we got to Florida 6 months ago, where it's like, okay, we're giving ourselves job titles.
Yeah.
She decided not to go to university. So I'm like, Amoy, you have to treat like
Yeah.
as a business, or what are we doing here? So she has really taken the reins. Even yesterday, she was sitting down at this chair that I can see right across from me, and she was doing her emails. And she said, Mama, do you see you don't even have to ask me to do these things? Like, I just do them. So she has a huge sense of pride in that. And I love to see it. I really do. But as far as creating content, it's fun. We have the fun videos, but then the one thing that we really like to stress is while we do the fun videos, there is a bigger meaning to this,
Yeah.
right? We always say if there isn't impact or income, then
Yeah.
what are we doing?
You
You
put
know,
that on a t-shirt.
literally, like, this isn't a popularity contest or, like something like that. It's for us, it's impact and income. Obviously, if you're going to be a business, you need to think about your income, and then impact is the deeper purpose here, right? So another thing that I also want to touch on is Amoy doesn't watch a lot of my videos about my journey. She doesn't watch them. She still doesn't know a lot of things. So she picks and chooses what she wants to watch of my videos.
Responsible young woman.
I know.
Girl, you've done good. Pat yourself.
Well, I didn't even think of it like that, but I think that's just her. Like she doesn't watch them. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She said she's not ready to know everything. I don't know if she ever will be, but she isn't ready. But she encourages me to share my story. That's the thing. She really she's like, Mom, what's happened to your domestic violence series? Like, get on that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. But that even sharing that for me is a lot. But what is it like? It's fun. It's fun, but it's definitely a business. So right now we're good. We've used ChatGPT even as a little business therapist, like a mediator when things, actually we did a interview with People Magazine and she explained it really well. She said, sometimes we have disagreements, but we need to she just pictured, we have to get in the same car and we have to drive because we both need the business to go in the same direction, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're having a lot of fun with it. I don't
That's
have
amazing.
we're having fun. We're having fun. We have plans to do a product-based business starting in 2026 off of our platform. So Amoy is trying to build right now her platform for, I guess, like the younger generation about body positivity and just feeling good in your skin because she has her own story to tell there. So she's been vulnerable sharing her own story. But yeah, I mean, like, we're having fun. I feel like it's a dream. Like, who doesn't want to do this? Like, who
And with
doesn't?
your
Who
daughter, I
doesn't
think
do this?
so
This is so
fun.
fun. Yeah.
Oh my God. And I love that you guys feel a responsibility towards your audience. Like I love that. Like
Yes.
you're really wanting to impact women and inspire them. And I think that's beautiful. You're teaching your daughter so much, not only about creativity, but about confidence. And gosh, just bravo again, Mom.
Stop it.
Seriously. I do want to ask you a question because you guys are on this journey together. And I think there's important lessons with this. And when we put ourselves out there, obviously the criticism and the trolls come because they get triggered. How do you handle criticism? Like, especially when people judge your choices or your past, or I don't even know if they've ever judged. No one's ever said anything about my kids, but I don't know if people are
They
really
have.
toxic
They
enough
said
to come
things
after your,
at my kids.
like, how do you handle criticism and stuff?
I feel like we go through waves. I feel like my kids are much better at it than I am.
Yeah.
They just kind of let it roll off. I mean, my eldest daughter doesn't get a lot of it because she's not in a lot of our content, but even she'll give me pep talk. She's like, Mom, like, you don't even know these people. Like, why let it bother you? And I'm like, no, but they're saying, I think it comes, and that's only in waves. That's when they're getting
Yeah.
me on a bad day. But
Yeah.
on like your regular average day, I don't let it get to me because, I mean, I've never left a negative comment in my life. My
I
kids
know.
never left a negative comment in their life. The only thing I would have is compassion or that's not for me. And then
Yeah.
I move on.
Yeah.
I I'm like, for you to leave that kind of comment is more of a reflection of them. And I know that sounds like what every creator says, but it really is
It's true.
more of a reflection of them. But there are certain times when they get me. They
Yeah.
get me. And it's two things. It's either one, they're talking about something that I'm already a little bit insecure about, or two, they talk about my kids. And
Yeah.
then you're coming for the jugular and I'm
Yeah.
going to I'm going to
Yeah.
come for you. There's one example. This one woman shamed what my daughter was wearing. And the thing is, like my eldest daughter dresses like skin covered, but my youngest daughter doesn't. And we're also in Florida.
Yeah, you're in Miami. That's like a welcome to
Florida,
Miami.
and this one woman he's, I don't know, commented and said something about the way she dressed. And I'm all for right now. The internet is not an anonymous place.
Mm-hmm.
If you're coming into my house, I'm going to come into your house.
Yeah,
So I
100%.
found her on Facebook. Not my proudest moment, but this was not I'm saying it because I want everyone to know the internet is not anonymous. If you are going to give, you're going to get. So I went into her Facebook and I found one of her Instagram reels. She was private on Instagram, but she was not private on Facebook. And so it became public on her Facebook and I saw all of her tagged friends. So I put the video into ChatGPT and I said, can you make a little text where everything is hyperlinked? All of her friends are hyperlinked. And I screenshot the comment and I put it on my story with her photo and hyperlinked all of her friends. And I said, I need you guys to see who your friend is. That's all I said. That wasn't my proudest moment. Did I regretted it after? I did. It was a very heated, but you come for my kids. I am going to come for you. And so her friends started DMing me back. And that was
First of all, we're all human. Second of all, it was regarding your kid. And third,
Yes.
my grandma Joe in West Virginia would say, listen, Michelle, if they mess with the bull, they're going to get the horns. So
yes. Amen. You come for my kids. I'm going to come for you.
yeah. I mean, listen, a lot of things have been going viral lately and the triggered people are coming out and it takes so much. I've responded to some, but right when I want to respond, you know what I do to make me calm down and like not go back?
Yeah.
Is I picture my mother texting me these things because that's the thing about people. They want a reaction. They want a reaction. They want something to do. They want to get you. And the best thing you can do is kill them with silence. Like literally not do anything. So when I am like so aggravated and I have responded over the
because you had recently a video go viral, did you not? And a lot of people were coming for you.
Oh yeah, a lot of people were coming for me. And I was just like, you know what? Thank you for your support. Thank you for showing all of us on this thread the importance of healing as an adult. But it's only making me go a little bit more bold and controversial with my videos because it's so important. Like, I'll never understand why people cannot have the same compassion for adult children that grew up in toxic childhoods, abusive childhoods, when like, if they were to remove the child and look at like a woman, they would say, you should leave that husband, or that's not good for you, or you deserve more, or everyone should be happy. But when you put the parent dynamic, people are so scared to say that parents, no matter what they're going through, have a responsibility to not just try their best, but honestly, like do better. I mean, you are shaping a human being. So it's still amazing. I hope these conversations and everything that's going on with Oprah and estrangement and Mel Robbins, like I hope it just continues to open the dialogue with things because it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Well, I just want to ask you one question just to close up and reflect. Like if your daughters were listening to us right now, God forbid, what's the one thing that you hope they remember about the mother who raised them?
I hope that they remember that I was just a free spirit. Like I said, being free is my biggest virtue. And I hope that for every woman, every man, but I hope it for every woman to be free, whatever that means for them. I hope that they're free. And I hope that they can see that I just constantly seeked out ways to be free and have autonomy over myself. That's it. That's it. That's the biggest thing for me is just to be free.
I love that. I love that. I want to thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story and for your laughs. I'm very proud of myself because I did see recently that you did see a private screening of The Housemaid. And I just kept telling myself, Cari, focus. You cannot talk about a movie for an hour. I am going to text you about grabbing coffee and walking through the neighborhood and chatting because, and I do want you to like look up on Netflix, the 365 Days series, because the Italian guy in Housemaid is the gangster in those movies.
Text me after so I don't forget it because I need to watch this.
You will binge watch it, but That's like
crazy.
Yeah. Anyway,
okay.
I just want to thank you. So where can everyone find you?
At Michelle Fairburn on every platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. I will link it here. I enjoy following you. I enjoy connecting with you. Thank you for the laughs. And I
It was
am
fun.
wishing you happy holidays and a great new
You
year.
too. And I'll see you soon.
I will see you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. This was fun.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Surviving Roots. I hope it gave you something meaningful to carry with you. Let's keep this conversation going. Find me on Instagram at cari.fund, where I'll share more from the show. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone who needs it. And remember, we are the choices that we make.